SpongeBob was supposed to end 20 years ago, and in some ways, it did. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie turns 20 years old this week, so here are some things I bet you never knew about it. The story of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie starts in Orange County, California in the 1960s, when Steven Hillenburg first became interested in the ocean and art when he was just a young boy. Hillenburg would go on to major in marine biology and minor in art at Humboldt State University. After graduating in 1984, he joined the Ocean Institute, a California organization that educates the public on marine science. It was there that he drew the educational comic book The Intertidal Zone, which included Bob the Sponge, a precursor to SpongeBob. He tried to get it published professionally, but no one accepted it. By 1989, Hillenburg decided to go back to school for animation. He enrolled in CalArt's experimental animation program and graduated in 1992. One of his pieces, Wormholes, played a number of film festivals, and from that success, he got a job as a director on Rocko's Modern Life. Martin Olson, one of Rocko's writers, read his comic, The Intertidal Zone, and encouraged Hillenburg to turn it into an animated series. So a few years later, he turned it into the concept for SpongeBob SquarePants, and he pitched it to Nickelodeon. They loved it so much they gave him a green light minutes after the meeting. SpongeBob was a hit out of the box in 1999, overtaking Pokemon as the highest rated Saturday morning animated series, and in its first few years, Nickelodeon asked Hillenburg to make a SpongeBob movie many times, but Hillenburg refused Nickelodeon's request for more than a year because he didn't think that SpongeBob would fit in a longer format. In a 2004 interview with the East Valley Tribune, Hillenburg said, "I never wanted to do a movie because I didn't think that what we wanted to say needed to be in a movie. I like the short form of animation." But then a story idea came along that changed everything. Quote, "Then this story idea came up that lent itself to a longer format. You can't do a road trip adventure in a short form." So in 2002, after the show's third season, Hillenburg and the SpongeBob staff hit pause on the show to make the movie. Hillenburg directed and produced the film, but co-wrote it with 5 other writer-animators from the show: Paul Tibbitt, Derek Dryman, Aaron Springer, Kent Osborne, and Tim Hill. They wrote it over a 3-month period in a back room at a former bank in Glendale. And by write, I mean storyboarded, drawing out many of the scenes on Post-it notes. Hillenburg and Dryman then did the animatics, and the movie includes the entire original voice cast from the show, while adding D. Bradley Baker as Perch Perkins, Scarlett Johansson, Jeffrey Tambor, and Alec Baldwin as Princess Mindy, King Neptune, and Dennis, respectively. Johansson agreed to do the movie because she loved cartoons, specifically Ren and Stimpy. The film also features a live-action cameo from David Hasselhoff as himself. They wrote the part without asking Hasselhoff, but thankfully he accepted the role at the urging of his daughters. As he told ContactMusic, quote, "I got an offer to do a cameo in the SpongeBob movie, and I turned to my girls, who were like 16 and 14, and I said, 'Who's SpongeBob?' And they said, 'Oh my gosh, Dad, it's the #1 cartoon in the world. You gotta do it.'" Like the TV show, the movie was animated at Rough Draft Studios in South Korea. The animators worked semi-digitally, starting with pencil-drawn poses that were then composited into layouts in Photoshop. Hillenburg was thrilled that the movie was done with 2D animation, saying, "I think the movie's drawings are much superior than the TV show." As for the live-action portions of the film, they were directed by Mark Osborne in Santa Monica. The pirate ship seen in the movie was the Bounty, a 180-foot-long reconstruction of the 1787 Royal Navy sailing ship HMS Bounty that was originally built for 1962's Mutiny on the Bounty and was also in 1999's Treasure Island and Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3. The crew built a $100,000, 750-pound, 12-foot replica of David Hasselhoff for the film. Hasselhoff got to keep that after filming ended, and in 2014 he almost put it up for auction but then pulled it at the last minute. During production in 2003, they told fans that the movie's plot would revolve around SpongeBob rescuing Patrick from a fisherman in Florida, an obvious reference to Finding Nemo, which came out that summer. SpongeBob voice actor Tom Kenny later explained that the idea was just a joke to throw off fans. One scene that was cut from the movie but made available on DVD shows SpongeBob and Patrick meeting Sandy Cheeks on the surface, who in this case is a real-looking squirrel. Patrick repeatedly vomits because he's upset by Sandy's unusual appearance. They ended up expanding on this idea in the sequel movie, SpongeBob Movie Sponge Out of Water. The movie's score was recorded by the London Metropolitan Orchestra at Abbey Road Studios in London. The soundtrack reflected Hillenburg's eclectic music tastes and included the Flaming Lips, Wilco, Motorhead, Ween, and the Shins. The Flaming Lips suggested that Justin Timberlake duet on their song for the movie, but Hillenburg refused, saying, "I don't want any of those sort of commercial weirdos on there. I don't like like those commercial people. I like you guys and Wilco and Ween. And the song The Best Day Ever was actually written by Tom Kenny, SpongeBob's voice actor, and Andy Paley. Despite the fact that Hillenburg was staunchly against SpongeBob selling fast food, a large-scale Burger King tie-in was key to the movie's marketing plan. That included these giant SpongeBob inflatables placed on Burger King roofs nationwide, and a number of those ended up stolen. So in response, Burger King offered a year's worth of Whoppers to anyone with information on the missing balloons. The movie hit theaters on November 19th, 2004, making $32 million domestic opening weekend, which put it in second place behind National Treasure. SpongeBob ended up grossing $140 million total worldwide. Critics were mostly kind. Today, 68% of the 125 reviews assessed by Rotten Tomatoes are positive. The movie was nominated for 3 Annie Awards and a People's Choice Award, but didn't win any. And unfortunately, it wasn't even nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. There was a video game based on the film and 2 sequel movies, but many fans believe that the 2004 movie marked a turning point in SpongeBob history, because when the film was all said and done, Hillenburg felt that it would be the perfect endpoint for the series. He saw the movie as an ideal series finale and was worried that it could jump the shark in the future. But SpongeBob was too popular and Nickelodeon refused to cancel it. And so Hillenburg resigned from the show and handed the reins over to Paul Tibbitt. And some fans feel that the quality was never the same as it was during the Hillenburg years. That said, Steven Hillenburg did return to the show in 2015 as an executive producer. He gave creative input and attended crew meetings until he passed away from ALS at the age of 57 in 2018.